Ohio. Man, yours is doing good. All right. Hey folks, so we're currently inside the BC Legislature. We just had a meeting with Minister Scott Fraser, the Minister of Indigenous Affairs and Reconciliation. We had put out a request earlier today to meet with them. We gave them until 10 a.m. tomorrow to meet with us outside the legislature. They invited us in around 6:30 p.m. today. During our meeting, we had a lot of conversations about what it means for Coastal GasLink and the RCMP to be on the Wet'suwet'en territories, and for the government's inaction on getting them off the territories in order to determine rights and title to the land that's there. That's been affirmed in the Canadian Supreme Court. And so we're here and we asked the minister if they would do everything in their power to remove Coastal GasLink and RCMP off the Yinta, and they said that they would not stand with us. And so we have decided that we are not going to leave the space until that is done, until the demands of the Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs are upheld. And so that's what we're doing here. We've made ourselves comfortable in this space here. This is a room inside the legislature facing the front of the ledge, where we have supporters from all over out there supporting us and singing to us, and that's beautiful. And yeah, so we're here, and we can see outside the door that they're having some deliberations about what's going on.
Okay, thanks.
Hey.
Okay, they're coming in. Okay, guys, hold on. Hi, my name is Brayden Nelson. I'm the acting sergeant nurse. You've previously filed an affidavit for the injunction on behalf of Derek Blackus. So what I want to tell you is the situation you're in. Like, we all believed in good faith that this was moving forward in a very positive way, and we invited you into the House for that reason. It was at the request of Minister Fraser and also the other MLA, Adam Olson. Everybody felt very good about this, that it was moving forward very positively, and that we were trying to respect what you're trying to do here and also understand what your needs were, right? Mm-hmm. By occupying the office and doing this, it takes it up a whole other level. We're at the position now where we have to call in vicpd, and we would rather see you leave voluntarily. I do not want to see you get arrested. I prefer that you go voluntarily. You've made your point. You've got dialogue with the minister. You have dialogue with Adam Olson as well, who's an Indigenous background. Things are looking really good, but this will not help.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, could I just speak to that?
Yeah.
So my name is Blaney. I'm from Kolin Nation.
Great.
Hi. So again, we just did have that meeting, and we asked if Scott Fraser could take a stand with us as Indigenous youth who have been occupying the ceremonial entrance for a collective of 16 days.
Yes.
And he said no. And so we are informing him of the responsibility that he has to future generations and to us as Indigenous youth, and the future of our traditional territories, which are jeopardized when any Indigenous nation in Canada is threatened with a military invasion if they exercise their free, prior, and informed consent to say no. And so he told us that he could not make that stand. And I understand good faith negotiations, but the spirit of good faith has not been demonstrated with our Wet'suwet'en relatives, because how can those negotiations take place in a way that is truly fair to all parties when their lands are still being invaded by Coastal GasLink? And so that's the reason why we're here. We don't want to be occupying this office as well, but it's our rights and it's our responsibilities. And so this is not a disrespect to the conversation, but rather to uphold our sense of respect for living beings and for Wet'suwet'en relatives.
So I understand all that, and I understand completely, and I empathize with your situation. And I'm not just saying that to play paper, but I do understand what you're saying. What I want you to know, though, is by occupying the office, if you call in vicpd, then arrests are made, you'll be released on documents where you're banned from this property, and your ability to continue to protest outside will be hampered, because if you're released on paper that you're not allowed anywhere on that if you come here and an officer sees you, you can be arrested for breaching a court order, which is way more serious. It's a criminal offense.
We understand that. We'll take it under advisement, and we'll meet, and we'll call you when we're ready for you. Thank you, Gregory.
Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And if I can answer any more questions, I'm
Thank you.
outside.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We'll call on you.
You need to update them.
We need to update them. Away! Can you hear me? No.
Can you hear us?
Okay, go ahead. Okay, do you want to get up here? Put your hand up here.
Aw, they're so small.
Aww.
Hello,
Yeah.
our supporters, community members. Can you hear us? Okay. We had a meeting
Gregory Nelson,
with Gregory Nelson, who's the
head of legislative security.
head of the legislative security. And he informed us that this was not good faith following a meeting where Scott Fraser, Minister of Crown and Indigenous Relations within BC, told us point blank that he could not stand with the Wetsuweten and condemn Coastal GasLink's operation within their territories. It is not good faith for Coastal GasLink and RCMP to be intimidating, invading upon, and encroaching sovereign Wetsuweten lands. So we commit to occupy this office until we see accountability. This is us standing with our relatives in good faith for their protection, for their women, girls, and two-spirit people who are threatened by man camps like the one brought in by Coastal GasLink. This is not activism. This is not troublemaking. This is not trespass. This is us taking a stand for our survival. This is about rights and responsibilities. Because we are all responsible and indebted to that which gives us life, to these lands, and to all those yet to be born. We thank you for standing with us, and let your friends and family know that this is not a drill. This is Indigenous youth
Facing arrest.
facing arrest, taking a stand for our future. And every one of you keeps us safe. Thank you. But call upon your friends and family.
Media.
Call upon media to keep us safe, to maintain vigilance, to ensure that there is no violence against Indigenous youth protecting the land. Get on your phones right now and call a friend, call a family member. Let them know.
They are calling VicPD, and they will be coming to arrest us.
They are calling VicPD, who will come to arrest us.
And we look for their support.
This is shameful. This is the criminalization of Indigenous peoples doing what is necessary to defend the land when they break every law in accordance with Indigenous governance as well as Canadian law in order to push through a pipeline. They cannot selectively stick to laws when it pleases them, when it lines their pockets, when it's convenient to their economic bottom line.
come to arrest us, we want these people to bear witness. And Gina needs to get on the stakes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, can you call Gene?
Should I end this or?
Yo, the live stream should keep going.
I had to turn mine off. I have to get in contact with Meteor.
Okay.
That's lie hole.
So, whose phone is this? Ace's? Ace's is your phone?
Yeah.
Okay. So, VicPD has been called on Indigenous youth who are peacefully occupying the inside of the Legislature building. This is following a meeting with Scott Fraser. And this is not in disrespect of the meeting, but rather in demonstration of what good faith looks like. Because good faith does not look like continuing to construct the Coastal GasLink pipeline and invite man camps onto Wetsuweten territories. Meanwhile, negotiations are apparently taking place. So this is about creating accountability, and this is about taking the stand that we need to take for the lands. Me and Ace here, Tla'amin and Chamalco. You know, we've seen LNG pipeline proposals within our territories, and we think that it's really important that as Indigenous peoples, we all stand with all of our relatives who are facing violence as a result of industry, because our territories are next, and what happens to one happens to all. And we really value our Wet'suwet'en relatives, their hereditary chiefs, their matriarchs, their peoples, because what they have ignited across the country is a sense of hope, especially amongst the youth, that we can, you know, assert our sovereignty, that our future is not just in the hands of the Canadian government that keeps us in cycles of poverty, that immobilizes us, but it's in our hands, and it always has been. And that is beautiful. It's beautiful to witness this national uprising. And so we just want to raise our hands for anyone who is watching, who is from those territories, who is Wet'suwet'en or Gitxsan or Tyendinaga. We really raise our hands to you because you've given us a lot of hope. And we feel your presence, and we pray for you as alongside our sacred fire that we have held for 16 days collectively on the steps of the Legislature building, because we're bringing the front lines to their doorstep until they remove the front lines from Wet'suwet'en territories. And this is the stand that we need to take for future generations. So currently they're trying to negotiate, but VicPD has been called in and is will remove us from this building. And it's unfortunate that this is what accountability has to look like in this country. It's unfortunate that accountability has to look like Indigenous youth facing arrest. But our parents and our grandparents faced much worse simply for just being Indigenous. And so this is what happens when we don't shrink ourselves. And we are proud to stand here. We're proud to be carrying our songs. We're proud to have our community members outside. And we're proud to be a part of this next generation of Indigenous peoples, putting our foot down and standing for our rights. So, yeah, for everyone who is commenting and who is watching, if you guys could all just share. We have 133 people watching, which is awesome. And if every single person could share right now, because VicPD has been called on unarmed Indigenous youth who are peacefully occupying the inside of the BC Legislature building. And our supporters outside are going to need a lot more just assistance and holding the police accountable to not being violent against us. So if there's people outside too who could help facilitate bringing a drum in. Oh, I brought my rattle. But we're in need of drums. We're in need of, you know, singing to ourselves and holding ourselves in a good way and ceremonial way, because we know that we're nothing if we don't stand from love. And so we really just want to underline that. This is not about mischief or trespass. This is about upholding Indigenous law. This is about the fact that Canada selectively follows its own laws when it's convenient, and Indigenous peoples in this country right now are treated as an inconvenience, and our lands are not an inconvenience.